Hi everyone, and a warm welcome back to Sit Still Look Pretty. I can't believe that the year is almost ending and that we are winding down for the entire year. Is it just me, or like the year just went by so fast? But here we are. This is almost like a Christmas special kind of a thing that we are winding down for. Anyone that is away from their home in New York, sending lots of love. Stay warm even though it's so cold this time round. But now getting into the podcast episode for this month, who I am joined here with Sanya. She's the creative force behind Farishta Flowers, a Brooklyn-based floral studio known for its bloom and out-of-the-box arrangement that, to me personally, it blurs the line between art and nature, because who doesn't love receiving flowers? Named after her mother, whose maiden name is Farishta, means angel in Farsi, Sanya's work is more than just design. It's a tribute to love, legacy, and the quiet poetry of creation. From her early days in Texas, learning to care for her garden alongside her mother, to building a thriving creative business in New York City, Sanya has found her way to turn her roots into something that truly sparkles here in New York City. Her story is more than just flowers, if you ask me. It's about identity, artistry, and finding purpose in beauty. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Sanya. So happy to have you here.
Thank you. And you described me so well. I appreciate your kind words.
Flowers is such like a soft, beautiful thing. Like I said earlier, who doesn't love like receiving flowers? But I want to trace it back to your childhood firstly and talk a little bit about you. How was Sanya like as a kid and growing up in Texas? What was it like for you?
I grew up in a very warm, hospitable household with a very loving and very physically affectionate mother and father and sister. And yeah, with Pakistani roots, I think we are all just like very loving. We make a lot of food for each other. We have hot chai and we sit around the dinner table and we talk for so long. So I grew up in a very loving household with a lot of Pakistani friends as well. So they would invite me into their homes, and their family is my family. But yeah, I had a lovely childhood back in Texas, and I miss it all the time.
And what exactly kind of inspired your love for flowers, if I can put it that way?
Yeah, so my mother, who this business is named after, inspired my love for flowers and for nature in general. She has a garden in our backyard, and we had a rose bush, and I would pick flowers from the rose bush and make arrangements out of them when I hated my 9-to-5. But yeah, she inspired my love for flowers, and she is the strongest, most beautiful angel I could have ever asked for. So really, this is all because of her.
What would you say is like your fondest memory with your mom in the garden? It could be even like a conversation you guys had that is probably like close to your heart. Anything.
I remember we grew hibiscus flowers. Okay. And so hibiscus flowers, I mean, when like all flowers, they're kind of closed off until they bloom, and they bloom so big and beautiful and bright pink. And I remember picking the hibiscus flowers with my mom and making hibiscus tea out of it, and it just felt so grounding. Like I felt so connected to Mother Earth and to nature, which now in New York I feel so disconnected sometimes, and being around flowers definitely helps, but I think there's so much beauty in spending time with your family and being out in nature. There's nothing more fulfilling.
I feel like the way you narrate it, I have like the picture in my head, and it sounds so beautiful. And that brings me to ask you, like, why did you move from like Texas to New York City? What inspired that move?
A really bad breakup. It's always about love, isn't it? Anyways, I just wanted a fresh start. Yeah. I got a job opportunity in Texas. I worked at IBM in hardware sales. Okay. Super sexy.
Yeah, she's a cool girl. Like, she didn't say much, but she just dropped it right there. Okay.
I was like a corporate baddie before that terminology even came out. And I absolutely hated it. Okay. I felt so unfulfilled by it. And I remember I started Farishta Flowers as like a website where you could say what your favorite flowers were, and I would make like a custom bouquet for you.
Okay.
And so it was very, I don't know, startup-y.
Okay.
But then after doing flowers like that, I realized I was like, if I ever start Farishta Flowers again, and it happened to be in New York, I promised myself that it would be more creative, and it wouldn't be so methodic, and I would be able to do it the way I really felt like I wanted to do it. So I moved to New York for a marketing job to get away from my hardware sales job, and then I was like, this is the time to start Farishta Flowers again.
I'm curious, like it's a big city with a lot of ambitious people that we are surrounded with. Sometimes it is inspiring, sometimes it is intimidating. I feel like I am still trying to like get used to all those emotions. So when you first thought about like starting it all over again, like was it something that you were like, yes, like let's do this, let's get it, or was it a little bit like, were you apprehensive?
I was really scared. I went to the New York City Flower District, which have you ever been there?
No, never.
Okay. You should check it out sometime. It's in Chelsea. It is the biggest flower district in the United States, as far as I know. There's flowers from all over the world. And I remember going there the first day and being absolutely overwhelmed. Everything is wholesale. It's all about the people you know. Everyone's yelling at each other. Like it's crowded. I mean, it's like New York, but it, like in its own nutshell, the flower district, you know. And I remember thinking, I'm like, oh, it's going to be so hard for me to like find my way and pave my path here. But slowly you start making connections. Slowly you start recognizing the suppliers and having relationships with them. They ask you how you're doing. You ask them how their daughter is doing. And you grow a bond. And you do that with anything in life. But I did it with this job as a florist. I know my suppliers. I know my clients. I know my freelancers. And slowly those relationships just make the job so much easier.
Do you officially started like at a studio space itself, or did it start off small, like at home?
It started off so tiny. I would take anything on, absolutely anything on. And I was working from my 3rd floor apartment. It was a walk-up in Brooklyn. And I remember like carrying buckets of water with like water sloshing up and down the stairs, and like having to rent a U-Haul and driving a U-Haul in like Times Square and crying because I'm like, I don't know how to parallel park. I'm so stressed. I'm from Texas.
Times Square is not for the weak, I have to say.
No, it was terrible. And then like I have to like find a parking space, but then I went to a parking garage and they're like, no U-Hauls allowed, and I'm like, I have flowers. It started off crazy, like so chaotic. I didn't know what I was doing. That being said, I probably should have gotten more experience before I started my own business, but I kind of just went into it and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna learn as much as I can. But I would do little pop-ups in McCarran Park where I would do like donation bouquets, give what you can, struggling artist. And then eventually my name got out there. You learn the formula. You learn what works. You find drivers that can drive for you, so you don't have to. You find freelancers who like get your style, so you can take on more jobs and you don't feel so stretched thin. And little by little, it gets easier.
You make this sound too easy, but like I think one of the best things that you have done is probably to like just throw yourself in, because as much as it's like a messy process, like for an example when you were explaining like I had to drive down and things like that, but I feel like that's one of the best ways to like learn quick, to know things and things like that. And I feel like for yourself it's like so nicely like shown the journey from the time that you started to where you are right now. Like just looking back and reflecting, how do you feel about this whole journey from the point that you started to where Farishta has reached today? Did you ever think that it would grow so big?
No, I genuinely didn't. I would look at other florists at the wholesaler getting like boxes and boxes of flowers, filling up their vans and being like, I can never be on that level. I was like picking like 20 stems and being like, this is all I can afford. But then I remember anytime I would treat myself to get flowers and make arrangements out of them in practice, I would do it over and over again. I would make one arrangement and then I would do another one in a different style. And I remember I continued to grow and to learn. I never compared myself to other florists. I definitely knew where I stood. And I think because of that, I was able to take it slow. And so when I did grow, it felt like, oh, now I like deserve to be at this level because I struggled this much. And now I deserve to be at this level because I struggled this much. So when I got my floral studio finally, I was like, yeah, I've struggled enough in that apartment. So when I found my driver, I was like, yeah, I definitely went through it. And I think it's the struggles that make you so much more appreciative of where you are now.
That's so well said. But we have to talk about, you just spoke about the arrangements and things like that. I think, while I stalked you a little, I loved how there was this particular like video that you put out on TikTok. It was something to do with like a little bit more dark, like it was a dark kind of theme and an arrangement. And I found that so cool because when we think of flowers, all of us is always like, oh, wedding, like some kind of event, you're surprising someone. But at the same time, what about people who also like a little bit more towards the darker side of like dark arrangement? So I found that so cool because I felt like it kind of showed you as an artist, the way you creatively think. So I want to delve into that a little bit more. Like, what goes behind your head? Like, what inspires your arrangements?
Yeah, it's so interesting that you point that out because I remember at the start of my floral journey, I loved pink and orange and bright colors. And I think that's because I grew up around such bright flowers. It's like what attracted me. I mean, like a lot of Pakistanis and Indians, we use like marigolds and bright pinks for our weddings and stuff. And then I remember that was a lot of what I used in the beginning, and I had a few clients reach out to me and ask me for like darker things. So I had a client ask me to make a floral arrangement for a cherry multivitamin launch.
Cool.
And so I was like, oh, how are some ways I can like make these flowers kind of look like the dark cherries that we eat that are juicy? And so then I like started playing around with more moody colors, different kind of flowers, more branches, maybe dried flowers. And I'm like, oh yeah, I actually do enjoy this challenge. And flowers don't always have to be bright and conventionally pretty. I think I've been blessed with clients who continue to challenge me. And although it's hard at the time, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, like I can imagine for someone who loves like bright colors and things like that, it is definitely a challenge to come up with something so like niche and so particular. So in that way, it is really cool, like what you just shared. Moving on to probably something, I know this was one of those things that challenged you. Would you say that was there ever like an event or something that you were asked to do for, which it could have turned out a little bit messy, or maybe you were not satisfied? Do you have any such stories?
As a business owner and an artist, I've had to accept the fact that I can't be 100% proud of everything I make, and that's okay. And it took me a while to like just accept it, but you can't always produce your best work. You're human. We have nights where we don't sleep. We have weeks where it's like client on client on client on client. And so I've given myself grace, but there are definitely times where I like will make something and I'm like, yeah, that's not what I would like. But at the end of the day, it's kind of what I've discussed with the client. It's the color palette that the client wanted. It's specific flowers. Like, I don't love using eucalyptus. Personally, it's not my favorite greenery.
That is interesting. I was going to ask you, is there any type of flowers that you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, eucalyptus ain't my cup of tea. But I like literally have clients that want eucalyptus. So at the end of it, I will make it the best that I can make it, but I know it's just not what I would like. You have to take your own ego out of it at some point because it's their wedding, it's their events. they're hiring you on as a vendor. And I think that's where it gets really hard, because I consider myself an artist more than a business owner. But at the end of the day, you need to make money. New York is an expensive city, and you got to give them what they want. So you have to remember that what makes you successful as an artist and as a business owner is making sure that your client, at the end of the day, it's what they're asking for.
Fun question for you. Purchasing flowers from somewhere else versus purchasing flowers from Farishta, what would you say that it's your signature? Like, people who walk through those doors, they will definitely get that from you.
My friends always joke around about this, but I put like antennas, like really long stems, kind of sticking out of my arrangement. You'll always notice I'll like make something nice and structured, and then my friend's like, yeah, you're missing something. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm missing something. It's like I have to add like a really long flower stem that comes out. It just adds some funky whimsiness to it. But other than that, I think I pride myself on the combination of being very sculptural and then kind of intertwining that and being very natural along with it. So using hydrangeas and like calla lilies and very sculptural flowers, but like adding like viney clematis or jasmine or something that like kind of adds like a little bit of a whimsy look. Combining the two is kind of like my niche.
I feel like I want to create like a fake event for myself just to get an arrangement from you, because I feel like your arrangements are so beautiful. And something that I want to delve a little bit into with you would be, we have to talk about your Pakistani roots, because I feel like when I first came to New York, something that I noticed like within like my few days here was the fact that it is so diverse here, in the sense of you get to meet people from all sorts of culture and things like that. But I've always wondered that, do you ever have any instances where like you feel that, oh, like I am unable to express myself fully? That could be one, or it could even be the opposite of like you just enjoying your culture way much more here, having avenues to express yourself. So I want to ask you the question of like, how did you feel when you first came here, and how has that perspective of your cultural roots like changed ever since?
That's a good question. I think as a Pakistani woman, I don't see many Pakistanis going into like artistic fields or careers. And I wanted to be someone that definitely like changed that. I want people to know that it's not as scary as sometimes our parents make it out to be.
So true.
And I think in New York, I'm meeting more people where they have side hustles. So they'll be doing their corporate job, and then they'll have like a side hustle where they're content creating or doing ceramics or some sort of like creative outlet, which I think is wonderful if you want to keep affording the city. But I've always had the mindset of like, if not now, then when? I'm like in my 20s, I don't have children, like nothing like really like tying me down. Now is my time to like take a risk on myself and really pursue my passions and my creative journey. And I think that's something that I don't find with a lot of Desis and a lot of Pakistanis. And I want to like encourage anyone who meets me and like asks how I did it. Like, I want to be like, you can do it too. You know, you just have to like believe in yourself, as cheesy as that sounds.
But it is so true though. Like,
and I like work with a lot of other florists, and I don't meet that many Pakistani florists either. I'm probably, I think, the only one. And I want that to change, you know? So, yeah, I think in New York, it's so diverse. But when it comes to, like, working with Pakistanis, even having, like, Pakistani or Desi clients, I just don't have too many. And I hope that changes.
Yeah, like, which this is exactly why I asked you that question, because sometimes I feel like as much as people say that it is so diverse right here, sometimes it's so hard to like meet the people from the Desi community and things like that. But I feel like you're setting such a good example though. I want to now talk about a little bit about like your friends and your community when you moved here and you're starting something so huge per se. Of course, at the start when we all have dreams, but when the dream is coming into reality, there's like so many struggles and things like that. I want to talk about your support system, people that you lean on to here, or it could even be the people you call upon and lean on to back at home. Like, talk to me a little bit about that.
At first, I felt very alone, and I think I'm so glad I didn't start Farishta Flowers right when I moved. I started Farishta Flowers maybe a year and a half after moving, so the first year was very lonely for me, but then I started making friends. I became friends with my neighbor, found a roommate that I get along with really well who's also a creative, and she's in film and photography, so she would help like photograph all of my flower arrangements, and anyone I met at the park that liked my flowers, they would give me a follow. And I remember even now they like message me and they're like, "You've come such a long way. Oh my God." And I'm like, I know, I can't believe it. But slowly you start meeting people in your life that make New York not feel so lonely and so scary and rough, which sometimes it feels. And then two, that make this business so much easier for you. So I had my friends come out to McCarran Park when I would do pop-ups, and they would share it on their Instagram stories and tell people to show up. I've had my friends help me with floral gigs when I can't afford to hire people. They'll like, you know, come with me and like be my assistant for the day. And so, yeah, I've gotten a lot of help from my friends, and I couldn't do it without a community. That being said, you are the only one who can show up for yourself. So you are probably the most important person for yourself and for your own business and like believing in yourself. But my friends and my community definitely help.
I want to wrap up like the interview with you by asking you what's next question, like for Farishta. Like, you guys are doing so well and things like that, but now that the year is kind of like rounding up, I think I would want to ask you like, what is the next move or something that is in your mind, you're planning for it? If you can give us a sneak preview.
I think I love New York City, but it would be so cool to kind of inch my way upstate, and do things upstate, and be more immersed in nature. So I think those are like immediate next steps for me, kind of trying to find some good freelancers, a good team upstate, trying to find some clients who want to do things upstate so I'm not constantly in the city. And then personal goals are like taking care of my health and well-being while having this business, which is the hardest thing in the world, because this business is nothing if your health is not, you know, at its like utmost, what is it? Your health isn't there, you know? Your health is first. It's a priority.
For sure, yeah.
So yeah, I want to learn how to better balance my personal well-being as well as the business.
Okay, like I wanna wish you all the best, like with Farishta Flowers. I think you guys are doing great. Your arrangements are like beautiful. Like I said, I want to create like a fake event for myself just to get flowers, but I truly wish you all the very best. It was so wonderful like having you on the podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, this was fun. You're so easy to talk to. You're a great host.
And I'm going to wrap up with you guys. Merry Christmas. And I'm wishing everyone during this festive period a very good holiday season wherever you are in the world. And I will catch you guys soon on the next episode with a new cup of tea. This is Priyanka signing off on Sit Still Look Pretty.